Three, two, one. All right, and welcome back to Gridiron and Hardwood. After a 2 week hiatus, we are back and hopefully better than ever. We got some important topics to get into today, some recent news that just dropped today as of the day that we are recording this episode. Um, being, some NBA news. We can go into some NFL stuff later, but we are going to go in a different order today. We're going to save our our decade of positions till later on in the episode. So just a peek behind the curtain, we are recording on 2 different days, so we're recording on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, but we thought there was some pretty decent information that came out here today, so we're going to go ahead and do the latter portion that we would usually do first. Now, to get into that, before we get into that, just quick plugs here. You can follow again the pod on Twitter at GridwoodPod, on Instagram and TikTok as well at gridiron.hardwoodpod. And that's how you can support us on all of those platforms. I'm Trent the OG and Vibe and Trent on all platforms. He's Tyler Cargill on most platforms. But other than that, unless he has any other plugs to get out of the way, we can go ahead and start with our first few topics of the day.
No, go ahead.
No? All right. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, um, I know we usually do NFL first, but there's a real passionate subject that me and Tyler were kind of talking about before the show, and we'll get into more NBA stuff. But I just wanted to start it out with, um, let's take a look at the jersey I'm wearing. There is a survey that came out day ago, today maybe, essentially saying that there's more belief against Project Marvel than there is for Project Marvel. And for those of you that are not around the Texas area, don't know anything about Project Marvel, just a quick rundown. It is a plan to kind of revive San Antonio's kind of downtown area. And part of this plan is getting the Spurs a new arena and renovating the Alamo Dome and the convention centers down there in that same area where it all is at. Um, and there was a study that came out saying that I believe it was 40% of San Antonians are are in favor of the bill. 46, I believe, it was that are against, and then the remainder is undecided. Um, Let me just I'd verify my sources, but we're just trying to get through these topics today. But I it was a study. If you go through the worlds, you can find it. Might have been done by UTSA if I'm not mistaken. But to get down to the nitty gritty of it all, I honestly don't understand what the reason to say no on this bill is. And we try not to talk anything politically aligned on this show, but I think when you're talking about a issue as vital to the city of San Antonio as this is, and as vital as it is to a San Antonio Spurs team, it's something that does tie directly into our show in that for a very long time, the San Antonio Spurs have been the culture of San Antonio. When you say, hey, blah blah blah, San Antonio, if you're like, oh yeah yeah yeah, Spurs 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 Spurs, you'll get the person that's like, oh, the Alamo, blah blah blah. Yeah, there you go. And I mean, you don't got to take my word for it as a Texan. I mean, Tyler can speak to this himself. Like when you hear the city of San Antonio, what are you thinking, Tyler?
Yeah, bro. I'm from Ohio. I'm from all the way up north. When we hear San Antonio, the first thing we think of is Spurs. When I was born in June of 1999, guess who won the championship? The Spurs. My dad had a Spurs jersey. He was a Tony Parker fan. My dad's name is Tony.
That's my
There
guy.
is nothing else that is a that there is not yeah there's nothing else that is a benchmark for that city than the Spurs. I know UTSA, but they really haven't been there in football. There's no NFL team. They just got a UFL team, but they're already leaving. The main benchmark is the Spurs. So I just don't understand to vote down on that. Like it's gonna be the same thing with Seattle with the Supersonics, and they left to OKC. But the only difference is that they still have an NFL team. There is no NFL team in San Antonio. So what you're gonna be? So like, what's gonna be your identity?
At that point, there's going to be really no identity other than, oh, this is a historic city. If you're a history nerd, you can come and visit. Because the Spurs are just so ingrained into everything in the city of San Antonio. You look left and right downtown, there's a mural of this or that player, whether it's current, past, someone that was here for a brief stint. There's murals everywhere over downtown San Antonio, some surrounding areas, because the city is like when the Spurs are on their highs, you can tell this city is just thriving. And the past few years the Spurs haven't been all that great. But like this city is so ingrained into how the Spurs are doing. People that don't follow sports here are like still so in tune with like how things are currently going with the Spurs. They may not be like me or a lot of other fans that are going to watch all 82 games of the Spurs, but they know the general sense. Oh, we haven't
Or
been
like
good the
me,
past
yeah.
few years, blah 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 blah. And I've talked to San Antonio. Yeah, and I've talked to San Antonio people over the past few years that have just stopped watching because the team's gotten bad. And I think that as soon as the team's won really good again, all that culture is going to come back, and we're going to see, okay, this is why this can't not pass. And if you want to talk about, oh, we could use this money elsewhere, blah 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 blah, we still have issues. Yes, San Antonio as well as many other cities has issues. Dallas has issues. Like, we're not going to be able to solve all of them today to tomorrow, any point in time. That's just the way the world works, unfortunately. I wish we could go and say, wake up tomorrow and say, all right, we're going to fix this issue and be done. But that's just not the way the world works. And a catalyst for getting some of that stuff done is going to be making the Spurs happy by being able to keep them here. Because, you may look at the bill and say, oh, well, this is just a bill about reviving downtown, giving the Spurs a new arena, which, oh, it doesn't seem like they deserve because blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. But when you look at the fact that the Spurs came here, won you 5 championships, built this city up basically from the ground, and then you don't want to do your part in giving them their place to play. You you run the risk, and we've seen it with the Silver Stars, the WNBA team that used to be here. They couldn't get anything from this city, so they up and left. They went to Las Vegas, and now they've won 3 rings since they moved. 3 rings in 4 years since they have moved to Las Vegas. You know who really could have used some revenue from those WNBA titles? The city of San Antonio. But guess what? They're not going to get it. And when the team moved, they were worth like double digits, millions of dollars. Now they're a $400 million company, a $400 million brand, which is crazy for a WNBA team. Like, let's not forget. Uh,
Can
so
I say
this
something?
San
Can I say
Antonio made a
something?
huge
Can I say
mistake
something?
in not keeping them. Yes, go ahead. Do it.
I don't understand, and I'm with you. I don't understand. Like, listen, because that's crazy. I didn't even know that about the WNBA team. What I'm saying? I thought they were always in Vegas. You don't always have to have. I feel like this was going to happen in the country. The only people that are going to thrive, just like college football, are the ones that's going to spend the money. The New Yorks, the Miamis, the Las Vegases, the Los Angeleses. If you're not going to nickel your diamond way to getting, like, those days are over. You don't have 5 Hall of Famers. You got blessed with that. Okay. You're just not going to be able to just roll out Tony Parker, Ginobili, and all them and win championships. Guys, we have to break bread. Spend money. Scared money don't make money. If you let them walk out the door, don't ever think anybody's going to come back. And because I know the WNBA team left, but the Spurs have been there the longest at any college or NFL, NBA. If you let them leave, you'll never have a sports team. Do you ever think to yourself, people in San Antonio, that when they win and you get them a new arena and they're doing good, that boosts your economy because you got teams from Phoenix and LA and Cleveland and Detroit. Tourists come down here to come watch the Spurs. Now they have no reason to come to San Antonio. For what? Some people don't even know the city exists. Some people just think it's just Dallas, Austin, and Houston. I talk to people all the time from Texas. They're like, well, I mean, other states are like, when I hear Texas, I just think of Dallas, Houston, and Austin. I don't really think of San Antonio. I never even heard of it. You don't want that for your city. And you think that, oh, well, we can use the money somewhere elsewhere and for jobs and this and this and that. you're gonna have a harder time because your job isn't gonna be able to create the money to pay you because they ain't got nobody coming in. They ain't got nobody buying up the hotels. They ain't got nobody buying plane tickets and the food and the whatever, And you got 82 games a year, and I know they're not all in San Antonio, but that's almost 100 fucking days of people constantly in and out spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in your city to watch the game. They might not be even there to watch the Spurs. They might be there to watch the Suns that night, or watch LeBron, or watch Curry, or watch whatever. People are going to travel. What about all the celebrities that get courtside seats? Spike Lee and Stephen A. Smith coming down there to go watch the finals or something like that. They're coming there to spend money in all the five-star hotels. The hotels are going to have a hard time making money. They're going to have a hard time selling. Like, the restaurants around there have a hard time because there's no main attraction. There's no circus in town. The moment you take away your cash cow and just rely on the jobs around, like, okay, I get it, construction, but that ain't nobody fucking flying to San Antonio to watch somebody do construction. No offense. I'm just saying. They're coming there to be like, oh, I want to watch Wemby. People from New York or Colorado, even overseas from France, are like, I want to go to San Antonio because that's where my cousin Wemby plays, and I want to watch him play. Now you ain't got no attraction no more. If they go to Vegas, let's just say they go to Vegas, right? I'm just giving an example. That's all. Vegas is already rich, bro. Like, you need to be able to compete, but this defeatist mindset of just like, oh, we're just gonna just, whatever. If you let Vegas get them, it's gonna be Vegas, LA, New York, Miami, and whatever last city. I'm not even from San Antonio, but I'm so tired of, like, I love the Spurs. I love their culture. I love everything, but I'm kind of frustrated for you because it's like, it's not really conducive. Like you said, I wish we could solve all our problems tomorrow. But guys, people are, it's gonna be like that everywhere. You're gonna have haves and have-nots. You're gonna have always gonna be somebody struggling. There's always gonna be somebody making good money. It's never gonna be 100% fixed where everybody just on the up and up. And a lot of it, people who are down and out, it's self-inflicted wounds, by the way. Like, they're getting stuff that they can't afford, they're living above their means, and you want to take away money from your city to not just improve the city, but downtown, like the Alamo, and maybe they can fix this up and go fix this. And people like you who go down there, who make an honest living, you had a shitty fucking week at work, you didn't even fucking want to go to work. But guess what you want to do? Guess what? Friday, I get to fucking watch Wemby. So guess what? The shit I go through work, it's all fucking worth it. Now you ain't got no outlet on the weekend no more. Where you gonna go now? Where you gonna go now? Or that guy coal mining and he promised his son some fucking NBA tickets for Christmas. He get to go. He get to go watch Wemby. What's he gonna do now?
Yeah. Uh, I don't know if you were done with your rant there, but your audio kind of cut out. Um, you good or you got more to add
Yeah.
there?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I was just gonna go into like the the financial aspect of all this because there's a lot of people that are like, okay, yeah, I love the Spurs, but like how? But I don't want to pay any extra taxes. I don't want to do this. Well, here's the beauty of this bill. The San Antonio Spurs have given the city of San Antonio a historic deal on this front. You want to know how much money the San Antonio Spurs are prepared to front for this? Themselves. Not from the city, but themselves. Because guess what? Most times there's a new arena being plotted or, actively wanting to be built. The Titans. The city's paying for most of the Titans' new stadium. That's not happening here. You know where this money's coming from? $2.1 billion with a B. With a B. $2.1 billion is coming out of the Spurs' pocket for this. And then I think they have like 500 million in other commitments. So, for this entire arena, if you look at the numbers, you go run the numbers, they are investing more to this project than the arena itself that they're going to be getting is worth. Because they're not just investing in the arena. They're investing in the surrounding area of this arena. Which is a kind of a mistake they didn't make. It was a mistake they made with the first arena. They weren't able to get the economy around that first arena. But when you have an arena downtown, which is where this is going to be, that's a more natural marketing, a more natural entertainment hub. You can build that. So they're putting forth all of this money, not only to the arena, to the upgrades that are going to be made to the other facilities down there. Again, such as the Alamo Dome and the convention centers, all of that kind of thing, to the tower that's down there, Tower of the Americas. They're putting forth money to improve all that, as well as improve communities all around the city of San Antonio. Not only this, but you want to guess how much extra dollars that the average San Antonio taxpayer is going to have to pay for this bill that we're thinking about putting through? A big fat donut. The money that is being used out of the city's fund to make this project happen, it's not coming from new tax dollars. It's not coming from this. It's not coming from that. It's coming from mostly like revenues from people who are indulging in tourism. So not the people that are living here, the people that are indulging in tourism, hotels, this, that. It's not a tax on the San Antonio people. It's more of a tax on the tourists, which is what you want for something like this. So when you sit here and you say, but I don't want to pay for a new San Antonio Spurs arena because they didn't do their job with the last one. Guess what? You're not. You're not. You're not paying a single extra dollar than you would be paying if they weren't building this arena. This is just pre-allotted funds that they already have accessible from the taxes you were already going to pay that they're just going to reroute for this purpose, and then they're going to institute additional revenue streams to pay for the rest of it through tourism taxes. Which, again, as a San Antonioan voting for this bill, you're not going to be worried about because you're not going to be paying anything in regards to tourism. You're not visiting San Antonio, you live here. So don't give me this, oh, I don't want to pay for a new San Antonio Spurs arena. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Please educate yourself on the specifics of this bill. That is my simple but loud urge for everyone in the city of San Antonio that is going to go out in November and vote on this. Now, I'll let you add anything else you want to
And
add
I'm
on
gonna
to
tell you
that.
what. And I'm gonna
But
tell
I
you.
just wanted to make that known because I think that's not getting enough coverage.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. I feel like you don't know what you got till it's gone. It sound good right now. If the Spurs leave, I'll give it 2 years. 2 years, and they're gonna be like, man, people in Seattle today are like, bring back the Supersonics. They holding signs up. They gone, baby. They in Oklahoma City, and they just won a championship
People in
in another
Houston,
city. You didn't get to
people in
win one
Houston, when the
with.
Oilers left, they're trying to claim
You
the
didn't get to
Titans
win it.
colors now because they didn't realize what they had until it was gone.
You
Keep
didn't
going.
get to
I was
win a
just trying to
ring
add on to your
with
point,
Sean
but keep going.
Kemp. You. No, you're good. Nah, but it's just like you got to understand that the moment that you let this team walk out the door, it is gonna be a dark cloud around that city. It is gonna be insufferable. Insufferable. You're not a Dallas with great economy. As bad as we think Houston is, at least they got club culture and food and all that other crap. And you're not Austin when it comes to tech and Microsoft and Sony and basically like LA. You don't have another thing to pivot to. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you don't need to just kick your team to the curb. You don't even got a Division I college football team that's like a juggernaut. Like you don't have an Ohio State or a Georgia. I mean, UTSA is nice, but they're not like, come on, bro. So it's like that's your only cash cow. You want to kick it out, and like you said, you're not even paying for it. You're not even paying for it.
It's just unbelievable to me how opposed I've seen people on certain platforms be to this when it just doesn't really affect their pocketbook or their bottom line the way that they think it does. Like, if anything, this is going to generate more revenue for you because you know what's going to happen with a new arena? There's going to be new economic opportunities. So, your job is going to have to start paying you a little bit more because all of the people around you are going to start raising their wages. And they're like, oh shit, I got to increase my wages or I'm going to lose my valued associate. That's what these kinds of things do. Like, This isn't just, oh, Spurs want new arena, but I don't want them have new arena. I say no. That's not what this is about. This is about so much more than just the arena
And you
aspect of
want to know
all
what's
of this. So I urge everyone to go home, go research this, educate themselves. If you still say no, then I would love if you hit us in the comment section, whether it be Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. I would love for you to hit the comment section, tell us why, so that we can have a dialogue on this. Because I really just don't see a perspective of why this is going to do anything bad.
and you want to know what you want to know I just thought of too? You are the city of San Antonio. If you do this deal where you get rid of Spurs, you'll always be a small ass blue collar city. You'll never be Dallas. You'll never be Austin. You'll never be Houston. You have to innovate, adapt or die. Do you want to just be just as little with highways not even finished for how many years? Like, bro, you cannot just keep leaning into this personality of just like, oh, we're just a hard nosed blue collar and we pinch every penny. Money ain't no good if it can't work for you now. You're gonna have to spend money on an investment to bring more money in. Do you know the Las Vegas Raiders, the Oakland Raiders? Nobody wanted to watch them play football. Nobody wanted to watch the Oakland Raiders play football. In 2020, they built that new stadium in Vegas. Ever since then, they've had a Super Bowl hosted there. They had people from all over the world, not even to watch no football game. They just wanted just to go see the stadium. They had concerts there. People are flooding the streets. I'm like, damn, I want to go see Allegiant Stadium.
Yep. 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 And I'll just like give us both here some time to wrap up our ideas. But I just wanted to add kind of what you were saying there. We just had the Final Four here. You know what's going to get us even more opportunities, whether it be NBA, whether it be like neutral site stuff for this thing or that thing, or whether it be more Final Fours, whatever it is. You know what is a huge encourager of bringing even non-Spurs related sports events or just events in general to the city of San Antonio? New, up-to-date arenas. Because you look at the Clippers arena that was just built. There's stuff happening all the time there. Like that came all out of Steve Ballmer's pocket, and that has been an immense success for them. With a new arena, you get new opportunities. So, my last thoughts here, and I'll let Tyler get his own last thoughts on this. But I urge everyone, because I'm not going to sit here and say you have to take my word for it. No, I'm not going to say that. But please do your research. If you say no to this, I want you to do your research and tell me if you still say no to this. And if that is your God honest opinion on it all, I don't want you to just sit there and say, oh, well, this is my opinion. I want you to have a dialogue with myself, Tyler, someone in the community, on what this does for us. Because I'm a San Antonioan, just like a lot of other people that are voting for this bill, because I will make time out of my day to go vote for this bill. You best believe that. If you say no, I urge you to educate yourself, and then even if it's so much as leaving oh, you're a dumbass, here's why comment on one of our episodes, even if it's that, please just have a dialogue with someone and try to get to the bottom of, okay, do I truly believe this and why? Because I feel like I've tried to evaluate this from all perspectives, and it all just comes back to like, this is the best offer that the city of San Antonio could possibly get for a situation like this. And they would be very, very dumb to decline it because the Spurs have multiple times been, rumored to be looking at other places. You don't want that to happen. I promise you, you don't want that to happen. Keep them here. The way to keep them here, give them a new arena. You don't give them a new arena, they're going to start saying, Vegas. Seattle. Other city. What would you give us to come here? How how much would you be willing to invest in a new arena for us? So that's my last thoughts. Tyler, I'll let you get your last thoughts in and we'll move on to the next topic. But I thought this was a very, very vital conversation to be had on the pod today.
My last thoughts is that You ever look at somebody's eyes and you see nobody's home and you just see just emptiness? If the Spurs leave, that city will have no soul. It will just be an empty shell. And, listen, I'm all for all the, you're not even spending no money on it, but just, we don't need it. I'm like, you sure as hell do. You need it. Like I said, my last thoughts is that you're not like Austin, who can rely on tech in Google and Microsoft. You're not like Dallas with the corporate offices and stuff like that. And you're not like Houston with all their different types of culture. And they're by Louisiana. I just feel like if you take that away, it'll be Dallas, Austin, Houston, and everything else. Because it'll just be countryside. Because I'm telling you right now, you take the Spurs away from San Antonio, that is the only thing people know about San Antonio. They're like, oh, you talking about the place where the Spurs play? Or the Spurs? If they gone, bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's it's gonna get worse. The jobs ain't gonna be paying much. Why? They can't fill the fucking hotels up. Nobody coming there to stay. Nobody's going to the 5-star restaurants. Steven A. and LeBron ain't pulling up, to go watch Wemby. I'm telling you right now, bro, it's gonna get worse. And you think that it's kind of like the guy who's being too cheap, and he thinks he's saving money, but like, bro, you gotta take care of your health. You gotta buy good food. You gotta get a new toothbrush. You can't just be super duper cheap, and you're low key kind of hurting yourself and going backwards. You know what I'm saying? You're not the jobs are gonna pay less now. They have no incentive to pay you more. Why? For what? What they gonna pay you more for? So, and I'm just like, in that new arena, like you said, it's not even just about basketball. They could have a Beyonce concert or whoever want to come sing, country star, or they could have a monster truck show or whatever. Now you have no revenue. You cannot take the cow out the barn. I just don't understand. And I want to ask people in the comments, where do you think this money is going to come from if you take the Spurs out? I genuinely want to know that. Because no offense, nobody cares about a hard working blue collar person. This is 2025. People are making money on Twitch and YouTube and OnlyFans and all this other stuff. Nobody gives a fuck about that. So where do you think you're gonna get this $1 billion economy coming from? Where you're gonna surpass Dallas or surpass Austin or surpass Houston? Your best bet is to keep the Spurs there.
For sure, for sure. But like I said, we both have given you our pleas here, but um, unfortunately, we do have some other topics to get to. I'm sure me and him both could rant all day on this because we're both pretty passionate on this. I mean, he's not from San Antonio, neither am I, but we both realize the reality of the situation. But let's go ahead and get into some other topics today before we round out, the part one of this episode. So I did want to discuss some other recent NBA news before we go ahead and get into some other things. Some trade candidates in the NFL is what you're looking forward to in a few moments. So two big things happened today, both by the same team. Russell Westbrook has officially signed with the Kings. It's been speculated for a good bit. They've been rumored to be trying to trade Malik Monk before they signed him, but it has become official now. Malik Monk has not been traded yet, as of my knowledge. That's probably coming soon, just because of what I've been hearing in the grapevine. But Russell Westbrook is finally signed. I don't know how I like this fit. I'll just go first on this portion of it. But I don't know how I like the fit there because they have a ton of guards right now, and him, Dennis Schroeder, all of the pieces they have there, and I just don't see them fitting together well enough to really get them into a playoff spot. I mean, yeah, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, your two former Bulls, are nice, sure. Sabonis is nice. He's not getting you to the promised land. None of these guys are securing you a top six seed in the West. At your maximum, you are still a play-in spot. So I don't know. I think I don't really understand the move on Russ's end, and I really, really don't understand it on the Kings end unless it's like a vet minimum or something similar. And then the second move that the Kings made today, they extended Keegan Murray for a 4-year, $150 million contract. Uh, or no, 5-year, $140 million. I'm sorry, I got the numbers wrong. But I thought that was a massive overpay, and maybe it's my San Antonio Spurs bias. We just talked about how much I love the city and the team. I don't think he's a better basketball player than Jeremy Sohan, all things considered. And Jeremy Sohan's also having an extension eligibility coming up. I think the last day to extend him is going to be Monday, unless you want to wait till the end of the season. Um, but like I just don't get why you give Keegan Murray that much money. It's $28 million a year. Like Keegan Murray, very very good spot up shooter, quality defender, but like he doesn't do much more than that. So $28 million for that kind of player, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I don't, like I said, I'm not really in a lot of agreement with the two moves that the Kings made today. We can get more into this, but I did want to like get off of my monologue here and let Tyler contribute to this conversation a bit.
Oh no, you good. I feel like Westbrook is a good pickup. I'm just glad Brody got a team. You know what I'm saying? And like I remember I said on a couple episodes ago, like he's always been a West Coast type of guy. So he's always been a Western Conference type of player. He doesn't really like to play East a lot. So, um, now I'm not talking about playing East in games. I'm talking about like playing for the team and being there. He's always been a
Yeah.
Western Conference type of player. So I think that's good. And I'm just excited to see what's going to go on. I know we went to the Spurs preseason game, see how they look. But yeah, I'm excited for the season to start.
You have any thoughts on that Keegan Murray extension at all?
Nah.
Okay. I think there's a little bit of a lag here, so for the viewers, if there's a lot of silence in between our talking, don't mind that. Um, but that was the major NBA news. I thought that both of those kind of moves were kind of interesting. I think been a few other things that have happened since our last pod, but we did do some talking about the NBA on the last, what we're gonna call the Lost Pod. Maybe someday it'll come out. But for now, we can't figure out how to get that one uploaded. When we do, it'll just come out on whatever day that is. But for episode 6, I think that's going to round up our NBA news topics for this section of the pod. I did want to get, though, into some NFL trade candidates. Um, I'll stop at kind of some ones that were a little bit more interesting, but I do have a list here of people that are said to be, trade targets of sorts. I think that because I'm looking at the list now, the first name on this list, Kirk Cousins. I don't really think there's anything to add on Kirk Cousins. I think it's just a known like he's on a horrible contract. No one wants to pick that up. Um, Russell Wilson, another one is like I don't see anyone trading for him honestly. Brees Hall is an interesting one for the Jets. The Jets are currently 0 and I believe 6, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd be interested in
They haven't
seeing
won a
some
game this
potential
year.
landing spots for him. You got any thoughts on? Yeah, got any thoughts on Brees Hall and what teams he could potentially end
Uh,
up on?
uh, yeah, I don't know where he would go, but if he wants out, I wouldn't doubt it. Like I wouldn't hold it back. Like I would want out of that shit too. Like that's going nowhere fast. You're 0-6. It's bro. We're 7, 8 weeks in, bro, and you haven't won a game. Like at least like it's still bad, but at least like 2-5 or 3-6, whatever. But 0-6, it's like god damn, like bro, like and they haven't even been in games. They've been getting waxed lately. It's not like we're like they've been in games. So yeah, I would want that shit too.
Yeah, I mean my garbage ass Titans won a Mickey Mouse game. Like, come on now.
Yeah, like
uh,
come on now, bro.
the next name I have on the list, Alvin Kamara. I just don't see him leaving a Saints jersey. But like, if he did, I know Homer pick here, but I think that if he were to come home, that wouldn't be a bad decision. He did play at the University of Tennessee, so you know what I'm saying?
Well, Alvin Kamara did go to Alabama first, and then he went to Tennessee. Don't forget, but I don't think he's gonna lead the Saints.
Uh, I gotta push my narratives. Come on now. Uh, Jalen Wright, don't really have anything to comment on him. Devin Singletary, yeah.
Pushing
Chris
facts.
Olave, Chris Ol what?
I said I'm pushing facts, not
But yeah,
narratives.
Chris Olave. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Uh, I got Chris Olave next on the list. Just I guess the Saints, the Saints fire sale going on here. Um, but Chris Olave, I saw like some theoretical posts today saying that like there was a trade in the works with him going to the Giants or something, but like they decided he's gonna go to the Steelers. It's a bunch of speculation. I don't know. I don't see Chris Olave, especially on his still playing out his rookie contract. I don't think they'll trade him. Um, but he would definitely be a very high list to look out for if they did. Um, I guess he's another Saint too. Another guy that I'd really love on this Titans team, Rashid Shaheed. Man, if you can like flip a few assets here and there, give him like an Arden Key and maybe a fifth, get you a Rashid Shaheed. I would love that personally.
Yeah, I think a lot of the I don't know. I don't think that's really gonna go on too much with this trade deadline. I think all the moves are gonna be made in March when the season's over, and there's a lot of guys contracts and shit like that. So a lot of people don't want to
Yeah,
pick up contracts and stuff from other players. So I think the crazy shit's gonna happen in March.
yeah. I got a quite extensive list of trade candidates, so we can just kind of go through a full list. If you got anything to comment on any of them, you can do so. Next, like kind of section of the list: Jacoby Myers, Alan Lazard, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Cooks, Mark Andrews, David Njoku, Chigakonkwo. Um, Personally, the ones that I'd be interested on there are the tight ends. I would love to bring in a David Njoku, but I would also hate losing Chigakonkwo, though I would understand it. Any comments on any of those guys, and then I'll list off some other guys.
Now go ahead.
So the next few guys I got here are Evan Neal, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, Ethan Pocic, Kevin Zeitler of Tennessee. I think you have to keep Cam Ward's O line intact no matter how old Kevin Zeitler is, so I wouldn't see us trading him. Um, the last guy, yeah, he's the last guy of this section. Then we'll get into some DNs that they're saying are on the trade block. But any of those offensive linemen you see on the move?
Nah, not really. Nah, my shit
Um,
lagging bad, bro. My bad.
Starting with, uh, no, I yeah, here it's fine though. Uh, but the next few people I have on the list, we'll start out with your Cleveland or not Cleveland boy. That's disrespectful. Your Cincinnati Bengal guy, Trey Hendrickson. I I think y'all might trade him just so that y'all don't get rid of him. So just so he doesn't leave for nothing. Because I know y'all gave him that raise, but like he's still not under contract next year. Um, so I think y'all could trade him. I wouldn't say it's likely. Keon White, Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan's just not going to get traded. He's too old to get traded. He is the Saints. Shelby Harris are the kind of guys I have for this section. Then we'll do some linebackers.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, you didn't have anything to comment on Trey Hendrickson and his potential movability?
Not at this moment. No,
Uh,
Mr. Trent. Leave me alone with the Bengals.
Hey, we lost last week too, so I can't hold it over your head anymore. Um, y'all still have more wins than we do, regardless. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Arden Key, Anthony Jennings, Draymond Jones. Two of those guys, I really hope that the Titans trade. Draymond Jones and Arden Key. Y'all better be packing those bags actively because I want y'all gone. It ain't nothing personal. It's just like you ain't that good at what you do.
Damn. Damn.
Any thoughts on those linebackers? He said, "Damn."
No, what the fuck? This one. Damn. God damn, bro. Shit.
Ah. Lastly, we got some secondary players. Uh, Reek Woolen, please be a Tennessee Titan, please. I want Tariq Woolen on my team, especially after we traded Jarvis Brownlee Jr., dumbest trade in Titans history. Um, then we have Roger McCreary. Do not trade that man no matter what. Give him his extension today, yesterday, matter of fact. That man is one of the best slot corners in the league. You better give that man his goddamn extension. Sorry for the profanity. And then Kyle Duggar and Tony Adams. Anyone you want to comment on there?
Nah, that's it. Go ahead.
You still laughing at the linebacker
Hey,
comment?
let's talk about Dan Lanning real quick. Let's talk about Dan Lanning. Nah, you know what? Never mind. I'm about to say
Okay.
that for like Patreon or something.
The Patreon. We should start a Patreon. I don't know if we'd get any subscribers this early, but
Hey, bro, you gotta start somewhere. Dan Lanning, man, he's a yeah. We gotta say that for Patreon because I don't want to talk about that topic because to me, looking a little different right now. You know that jaw moving a little aggressively. All I'm gonna say.
all right, my headset went out, so that's our cue that we gotta wrap up some stuff soon. Um, also the timer's about to go off. Uh, Not that y'all need to know what that timer means. But yeah, that's all I had for any sort of trade candidates. Anyone else you
What?
wanted to bring up, as far as you're concerned, as far as any guys you think might get traded?
Nope.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this section of the this part of the Gridiron and Hardwood podcast. We'll get that part two recorded, get these attached. But what you have looking forward to later in this episode, because you're all going to see it at once. Uh, so sorry for the audio cutting in and out. Headset's dying. But I'll just give you all a brief rundown. We'll discuss punters, kickers, some sixth men in the NBA. We'll discuss the week of college football, regular football. Get us some predictions in, and after that, we'll let you go. But that's what you have looking forward to the rest of this episode. You're not gonna know what the difference is because it's all gonna be one thing. But yeah. All right, and here we are for part two of the pod. Um, so, this first segment of this section of the pod, we're going to get into some NBA sixth men. Um, this is kind of our first specific position that we're going into, just so that we can make sure we get all the positions in both sports kind of taken care of. Um, if y'all are interested in it, maybe we'll do another episode where we'll go over like long snappers and stuff of that sort, and figure out maybe another NBA position to do. But nonetheless, uh, the first topic we wanted to go ahead and get into on this section of the pod, we're going to go ahead and talk about some NBA sixth men, since we are starting with the NBA on this episode, as illustrated in the first half of the pod. So, without further ado, I know Tyler likes to start in the 70s and 80s for his sports, but I did want to go ahead and talk about some guys back from the
Hmm.
60s, just because I do think that, a lot of those guys are still valuable. Um, oh, where did my list go? All right. So, for the 60s, when I was doing my research, this was a guy I didn't really know that actually came off the bench for this team. Um, the One of the greatest early players of that kind of era of basketball, John Havlicek, was a sixth man of that Boston Celtics team, and they didn't necessarily have the label of sixth man back then, but he wasn't really a starter a lot of times. So go ahead and give him his credit as a sixth man back in the day. John Havlicek, for those who do not know, played for the Boston Celtics, won a few of those rings with Bill Russell, and kind of a do-it-all guy, kind of guy. But definitely a guy that deserves his flowers. Um, you know, and honestly, there's not a lot of teams you can pick up from the 60s, so we're not sitting here every episode trying to glaze the Celtics of that era, but they were definitely the dominant team back in that day. So got to give a lot of credit out to John Havlicek. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
they
had
definitely
any
were.
other guys you wanted to contribute. Did you have any guys for the 60s you wanted to
No,
contribute,
but I
Tyler?
will say this: the Celtics and the Lakers for a long time were definitely powerhouses back in the 50s and 60s, even in the 70s and 80s, but especially around that 60s, 70s mark. Like it's not really glazed. It's just the Celtics were just a powerhouse.
For sure. Yeah, so when we go through these like 60s and 70s, it's like Celtic after Celtic, Laker after Laker, and maybe the occasional Wilt Chamberlain mention. That's just because like at that time, that's all the league really had going for it. Obviously, the league's in a better place now where we have a lot more stars and high caliber teams, but back then that's kind of what the deal was. But not spending too much time on that aspect of things. For the 1970s, I have a guy whose number is actually retired by the San Antonio Spurs. Although, for my research, his sixth man credit comes also from the Boston Celtics, uh, and that's Paul Silas. Um, oh no, I'm thinking of James Silas. That's the guy that has their number retired with the Spurs. I don't know why I had that switched in my head. Anyway, Paul Silas, very, very good player back in the day for the Boston Celtics. Personally, I don't know too much about the guy. Definitely give him his shout out though. There's back in that decade and that era, there's not a lot of six men you can draw, parallels to other than him and like the previously named Havlicek. But definitely a lot of respect to Paul Silas for what he was doing for the Celtics off of the bench back then. Kind of guy that I just recently became familiar with, more so during the research of this episode. Uh, is there any 70s guys that you would like to include, Tyler?
Um, as far as are we talking about just Celtics and Lakers, or are we just talking about um, I really see. I would have to get into the 70s and 80s, really the 80s, because like there was a lot of six men,
Yeah,
50s, 60s, 70s, but it was still just kind of like the main five. The six man, uh, the six man culture didn't become popular until the 80s because that really wasn't like a known thing people really said. It was just kind of like, one through five and the
right,
guys on the bench. So people didn't start actually saying and acknowledging six man until like the 80s. Like let's say Hakeem and all of them. And I know he was a starter, but he was still a role player and he played
right.
like a six man. But like Kenny the Jet Smith and Steve Kerr and stuff like that. They didn't start saying that term until the 80s. So
Right, right. Um, which is kind of where we were going to go with the next, decade of the 1980s with Kevin McHale was the guy that I had listed here. He won two Six Man of the Year awards that year, and that was kind of when that award originally originated. But he won those awards 1984, 1985. Also, third straight Boston Celtic we're mentioning on this list. But I couldn't really think of any other 80s guys off the top of my head, but as far as six men go of the 80s, definitely got to give Kevin McHale a huge amount of respect for what he did for those Celtics teams back in his day. And anyone you have any, memories or you've been told about growing up?
yeah, so uh hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
can
My
you hear me?
stuff is lagging pretty so bad. But yeah, so it's like I said, Kenny the
I can
Jet,
hear
but I
you.
know
Just
he
go
was a
ahead.
starter every now and again. Kerr,
Right.
Tony Kukoc, that Pistons team in
Yeah,
oh
you're getting more
04,
into like
it
90s
was Rip
territory there,
Hamilton, it was
though.
Chauncey Billups. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, that 6 man thing didn't become a thing until later on. Like it really wasn't like a known term. But yeah, go ahead.
But two of those guys or one of those guys that you mentioned was on my 90s list, and Tony Kukoc for the Bulls back in the day. Um, Tony Kukoc was one of the first like big men that was really able to like shoot, in that kind of era where, if you were a big man, whether it be power forward or center, you were kind of constrained to like go to the block, do what you got to do on the block. Get a rebound, do this, do that. Like you're just playing around that rim. Rebound, put it back. Tony Kukoc was like one of the only guys in that era that as a four was stretching the floor for a very good Bulls team that was winning championships at that time. The other guy I have for this, and I'll let you go into those 90s guys that you were just mentioning a moment ago even further. But the other guy that I had mentioned here, Detlef Schrempf, played for both the Pacers and I believe he also played for the Sonics if I don't have my players mixed up here. But very solid and versatile player back in his day. He did end up winning the award twice within the 90s. He won it in 1990 and 1992. But yeah, he was a very good consistent scorer off the bench for the Pacers back then. So definitely got to give him a lot of his respect. Um, but yeah, go ahead and because I know you were giving some 90s players loves. I was just going to go ahead and let you continue on that. Uh, now that we now that we're actually on the 90s, so
Yeah. So I said Kerr. I mean Paxson could be one of them too. Um, there was a guy
yep,
from the Knicks. He played with John Starks and he played with Patrick Ewing. There was a guy, I forget his name. Shit. It's in my tongue. There's a guy in the Knicks for like 96, 97. He was a huge part of that. That's why they went to the finals in '99. They played against the Spurs. I have to think of him later. I mean, even your Spurs. I mean, you had the main five Hall of Famers, but every now and again you might get a Boris Diaw or a Tiago Splitter or something like that. Pistons. It was Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. There was a fifth guy, Big Shot Bob. Robert Horry. You know, there was a lot of
yep.
guys early
Spur
2000s,
Laker legend, yeah.
late '90s, early 2000s. Um, Rick Fox played with Shaq and Kobe. He will always hit them big shots at the end. Rick Fox would hit those too. It's kind of and then who else? There is another guy with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in the '90s too, but he was kind of quiet though. He really didn't like say too much. But yeah, Kenny the Jet Smith. Now, sometimes Kenny would be a starter though. It just depended. Like sometimes Kenny would be in a starting lineup,
B.J.
so it just
Armstrong
kind
for
of
part
kind
of
of
his
depend.
career, I believe.
He might have moved up one night or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of. That's when six minutes. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, B.J. Armstrong. Yep, that's what I'm about to think of. Armstrong and I don't really know any uh six man with Shaq and Penny. I think it was mainly just Shaq and Penny. Like I don't think they had a really in Orlando.
Yeah,
I think it was just those two. I don't think there was really a six man for that team.
right. I think that was mainly like if it would have been, it would have been like when Scott Skiles or something late in his career would have been coming off the bench or something. Um, but like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
might have my timeline mixed up because I know Scott Skiles and Penny played together. I'm pretty sure for a little bit, but Scott Skiles. I don't know if he ever was a six man, but I think he's another one of those players. Has some records in the record book, doesn't get a lot of love, so just throw his name out there. Um, but as far as the 90s, that's the main ones I can come up with. I feel like the 2010s decade is really when we can start boom, 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 boom. Like that's when I
Yes.
think because of the guy that I'm about to mention for the 2000s, I think he kind of started the culture of the six man, and now every team was like, oh, we realize how valuable it is to have that kind of guy on our team. And just to go ahead and transition over to those 2000s, if you haven't picked up the hint yet, it's Manu Ginobili. Manu Ginobili was the epitome of a six man in his career. He was a guy that was perfectly good enough to start. He could have made all-star games starting, but he took it upon himself to be like, you know what? It is better for the team for me to bring my punch and my scoring ability off the bench so that when Tony aren't necessarily out there on the court, we're not just having 0 points on the board and, having to hope on these role players to just do whatever they can. Um, he kind of started this culture of like, hey, you know what? I know what I can be on my own, but I'm going to sacrifice for the betterment of my squad. I'm going to make sure that my sacrifice is valued as well because, without Manu Ginobili coming off the bench for a lot of those teams, there's a huge chance that the Spurs just don't win a lot of the championships that they ended up winning because the bench would have just become stagnant like it has with them now because our six men and our guys off the bench haven't just been as good. Uh, but like I think that when you look at like the catalyst for sixth man culture, what brought it to the NBA, there's one man it all goes back to. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and disrespect the Kevin McHale's, the Paul Silas's of their day, but there's one man I believe that really took that six man role to heart and brung it for the world to see in the national spotlight, and that is Manu Ginobili. So before we get to the 2010s, I'll let you kind of expound on anyone else you have for the 2000s, but I think that you have to definitely give a lot of respect to Manu Ginobili for kind of what he did during his day coming off the bench for the Spurs.
No, I don't know. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead with your 2010s. Because the guys I name are pretty much 90s and 2000s.
So obviously in the 2010s, Manu was still around, so he was still, playing a bench role. But I think this is when you saw other guys start taking up that torch. You saw two main guys, like just kind of dominate the six-man scene for a little bit. And this isn't to like brag on any six men of that day, because like I said, Manu was a catalyst for the entire NBA. Every team valued the six man. These are just the two that like really held onto that torch after Manu inevitably gave it up. And that's going to be Jamal Crawford. He bounced around a little bit, Clippers, Knicks, but wherever he went, you knew what you were getting off the bench with Jamal Crawford. And then the other guy, Lemon Pepper Lou Williams. I mean, there's not a lot that you can like say about Lemon Pepper Lou. I mean, the guy was part of one of the greatest comebacks in my like young viewership of the NBA, where in a series where like they just weren't expected to do anything. They were expected to be swept and move on with their lives. And Lemon Pepper Lou, Danilo Gallinari, that team just decided, hey, we're not going to allow that to happen. They still ended up losing the series. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, they were able to actually go out and win a series. But what they did was they put their heart out on the line. They weren't going to let it be easy. They were going to steal a game or two from you, even if they had to come back 30, 40, whatever the case may be. Lemon Pepper Lou was about that action, and he didn't have to start the game to bring that action. He came off the bench, and you knew what was going to happen when you saw him enter the game. But I think those are the big two for the 2010s. And I'm going to kick it over to Tyler if he has any other guys he wants to recognize from that era.
2010s. I know he was the starter with the Clippers, but eventually, Blake Griffin. You know, on the not with the
Yeah,
Clippers, but you know what I'm talking about. Like later on, Blake Griffin for sure. Damn, Lemon Pepper Lou, Jamal Crawford. You said all the good ones. I'm
I'm
trying to
pretty sure he
think.
started for
2010s
the
is kind of weird
Pistons
because
though.
that's when the super team. Yeah, 2010s is a little difficult because that's when the team, like the 50s, 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s were basically team basketball. The 2010s is when that super team shit started, and it really got pushed to the side about
John
having like a
Livingston.
deep roster full of depth. So, so it kind of like yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to mention Sean Livingston for the Warriors. I mean, he's a guy that like people have tried to make these jokes about never missing a mid-range shot, but like you knew who Sean Livingston was off the bench. Like, you had your Curry, you had your Clay, but when Sean Livingston came onto the court, you weren't like losing a massive amount of production. He was still coming in and doing his job day in, day out. Guys like David Lee, David West back in that day. I say that day like it wasn't just about 10 years ago, so, but you know, those are some guys I forgot to mention, but definitely a lot of respect to those three guys that I just named. Uh, your David Lee, David West, and Sean Livingston, other guys, Boris Diaw, who came off the bench for the Spurs a lot. Danny Green, who was like your Manu Ginobili after Manu Ginobili for the Spurs. He would start a lot of nights, but he would also come off the bench some nights. So, a lot of guys like that. And I know I'm naming two massive teams of that. Just the same players from two different teams, but like, uh, I think there's those guys that deserve a lot of respect. But yeah, I just wanted to throw those guys out there. If you have anyone else for the 2010s you'd like to mention, go ahead.
No, that was it. Good, go ahead.
Uh, I'll let you start on the 2020s. You have any guys for the 2020s that you'd like to give any shouts out to? I know one for me would probably be like Deuce
Yeah.
McBride currently.
Let's see.
He's pretty good for the Knicks, but TJ McConnell.
I would say the whole Indiana Pacers team. No, I'm just playing. But that's what it feels like. It feels like they all kind of like they feel like a
You're
team
not
full of
wrong.
six men who just got like that energy. Like they all got cut. They all got like cut from a team, and they just gotta like just join forces. Like that's what it feels like. But I know it's not. But you know,
I mean, you're not wrong because I mean, like guys like Aaron Nesmith were guys that they just kind of picked up out of nowhere and they just kind of became those type of guys for them. But the two main guys that I was thinking of were like your TJ McConnell, one of those guys on the Pacers, obviously, and then your Deuce McBride. So that Eastern Conference matchup where you had both those six men fighting it out. Um, both of those guys are very, very important for their teams right now. As much as I love to hate on him, Keldon's brought a lot of scoring punch off the bench for the Spurs since he's kind of taken that role. Um, uh, who else can I think of? Because I know I'm skimming over a very important name, and I want to give them their due credit. Um,
Yeah, me too.
uh, Marcus Sasser for the Pistons. Another really good one that I liked. I liked him coming out of Houston. Um, he was really, really good. Very good three-point shooter coming out of Houston. And he'll give you a huge punch off the bench. So I really like a guy like Marcus Sasser for the Pistons.
No, facts. Yeah, no, that's a good pick right there. I forgot all about him.
Um, oh, this is why we do Google searches. Because I knew I was forgetting someone, and this is a guy that's been in the six man of the year race consistently the past few years. Naz freaking Reed. There are Minnesota fans that have this man's name tatted on them.
Yeah,
Like, if he's not one of the best six men in the
yeah,
league,
Nas Reed.
like,
Yeah,
you know what? This is my formal apology. This is my formal apology to Naz Reid. I apologize for the disrespect. Your name should have come up in my brain. I apologize. Um, DeAndre Hunter for the Cavs is another good one. Not necessarily to the caliber of Naz Reid, but like, man, Ty Jerome this past season was a very good one. Jordan Clarkson for the Jazz. Um, I just kind of want to get these few guys out, and then we can kind of go into any of these guys in depth that you want. But like Malik Monk is another guy for the Kings. I think he's going to transition to more of a starting role now. But Malik Monk is another huge guy that's played a big six-man role. Um, yeah. So those four guys are kind of guys that I should have thought about, skimmed my brain. But yeah, Nasri, DeAndre Hunter, Malik Monk, Jordan Clarkson, Ty Jerome, again, as I said. But any of those guys you wanted to expound upon?
yeah. So I totally forgot about Nas Reed too. He had that crazy series against Dallas a couple years ago, and yeah, damn Nas Reed. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the NBA guy here, so I have to issue that formal apology to Naz Reid. Like, I am in no right, I am in no position to forget the name of Naz Reid. I need you to become a San Antonio Spur in the future. I apologize, Naz Reid. Um, but all that said, we both love ourselves some good six men guys off the bench that are going to very much contribute to winning. But with all of that said, again, love those guys. But to move on to our next topic, some guys that can really win or lose a game for you that don't take the field very often. We're going to talk about some kickers and some punters. Um, you know, these guys are guys that are very undervalued. Unless you have ever been a part of a high caliber team, these are guys that are looked over a lot. A kicker can win the game for you. They do a lot of times. That one missed kick can F up your whole game as a team, even if it's not the one at the end. You say your kicker misses that extra point, then you got to fight and claw back in that game to try to make up that extra point. So kickers, you know, they're a very vital portion of this game of football that we know and love, and they definitely deserve their due diligence despite the fact that they're only on the field every so often. And punters, if you didn't have a good punter, your defense would be at a disadvantage every time they get on the field because your offense isn't always going to score. That's just a simple fact of the game. And so you need a guy that's going to take that pressure off of your defense after your offense maybe just doesn't have the greatest drive in the world. Or, something just doesn't go their way that drive. Maybe it's a holding call or two that just really pushes their offense into a tough position and now they got to punt. If you don't got a good punter, that opposing team that you're punting the ball to can start on the 50, then put that ball in the end zone very quickly. Or if you have a really good punter, you can almost make up for any mistakes on your offense just because their leg is that good. You can say, oh no, we only got to 35 this drive, but our punter is going to put it inside the 10. There are punters in the league that do it. Ryan Stonehouse is one of them in the current modern day. We'll get into all of that, but definitely these two specialist positions that don't get a lot of love. Again, if y'all want to see a long snapper episode, let us know. That might be next on the docket, maybe not, depending on what we find to do next week. But without further ado, introduction aside, let's get into some kickers and punters, shall we? Uh, Let me get back over to my list. Apologies, guys. My stuff is kind of all over the place. And once again, I recognize that Tyler starts in the 70s and 80s, so I'll go ahead and give my 60s pick. If he has anything to contribute on either one of those, he is more than welcome to do so. But we'll start out with kickers. For the kickers, I have for the 1960s, I have Jan Stenerud. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name, dog. And probably the most known punter from that era, George Blanda. I think he went on to do some other things after his football playing career was over, but definitely George Blanda is definitely a guy I've known forever. So lots of respect out to George Blanda. I'll just briefly kick it over to Tyler if he has anyone else for the 60s he wanted to name kicker wise.
No, you can go ahead.
All right. Well, I think that 80s is probably where these kickers get really good, but 70s, I got a few names here. There's probably just not, that one that kind of was that far above the others. So the few names that I have written down here, I have Goro Yepremian. Someone correct me on how to pronounce that because I definitely butchered that. Jim Turner. I hope I got that one right. Mark Mosley and Jim Bakken. Bakken. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know much about old kickers, but I'm trying to give the names out there so that we can all go back and do our research because these are guys that definitely deserve a lot of respect. But those are the guys I have for the 70s. Again, that was Garo Yepremian, Jim Turner, Mark Mosley, and Jim Bakken. Anyone for the 70s for you, Tyler?
No, not really. There was one guy for the Seahawks. He would kick with no shoe. I forget his name, but he would kick with no shoes and no socks. He would kick barefoot, and I was like, "That's the craziest thing ever." But he played for the Seahawks in the '70s. I
Well,
forget his name. But you go ahead to your next one.
I think I know who you're talking about. Like he had like a club foot or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That guy. Yeah, that guy.
Here, I'm gonna look up who that guy is because I know exactly who you're talking about, but I don't know his name either. Clubfoot was Tom Dempsey. Um, he set the then 63-yard field goal record in 1970. So shout out to him.
Yep, there you go. That's him.
Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I lose my lists. The 1980s guy, probably the first notable kicker in history. No disrespect to the other guys, they're just not as big of names as this next guy, and that's Morton Anderson. I mean, I feel like that's almost one of those names that's almost transcendent football. I feel like I know Morton Anderson, and like I knew the name Morton Anderson before I knew who Morton Anderson was. So definitely a lot of respect to Morton Anderson. He is the only guy I have listed here for the 80s, but definitely huge shouts out to Morton Anderson. Who you got for the 80s?
So for the '80s, I got the kicker for the Patriots. He played in the '85 Super Bowl against the Bears that year. He was the only one that kept them in the game. That Super Bowl, they scored about 10 points. That's all they scored, and then the Bears ran away with it, and they scored 34 unanswered points after that. Um, these guys' names, man, they're just so difficult. But I don't know why. Like people just had more difficult names back then. But he played for the Patriots in the '80s, especially the '85 season. And they actually had, if you one of the viewers want to look this up, they had a game where it snowed really, 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 really bad in Foxborough, and they had this guy on the side. I guess he was an ex-convict, and he was looking for more work, and he just came out of the stands and hopped on this plowing machine, and they plowed the snow. They stopped the game and plowed the snow where the kicker was going to kick the ball at, and he got off the thing, and then they kicked it and won the game. It was just a fan. He just jumped on and just went on. But don't forget, this is the '80s, so you could do stuff like that back then. You just hop in front of the game. But he got on the thing and plowed it, and the guy kicked it and won the
Right,
game in the middle of a snowstorm. But yeah, so that was for the '80s.
for sure. 90s. Definitely heard some of these names. Not as familiar as with them as I am with Morton Anderson, but Gary Anderson. Um, and then the other two I have listed here, Jason Hansen, and then Jason Elam. Hopefully, I didn't butcher any of those names. You got a 90s list?
So for the '90s, I'm not gonna use them for the '90s. I'm gonna put them in the 2000s because I think we all know who I'm gonna say for the 2000s. But for the '90s, I'm gonna go with that's when the quarterback
Yeah,
era was kind
one
of
of the
hot,
greatest of all time.
and guys didn't really need to kick field goals. It was a lot of touchdowns. So the '90s kind of like a dull period with kickers. It was kind of like a weird time frame. But like I said, we all know who the next decade 2000. We already know who I'm gonna say. So.
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead and get into that 2000s then. I'm probably stealing your thunder a bit here. You know what? I'll let you go into them because I think we both know who you are going to say, and I'll just throw the little
No,
tidbit
go
out
ahead. Go
here.
ahead. Go
Initials
ahead. No, go
AV.
ahead. Do it.
Nah, you're probably more the expert in this play,
Go
so
ahead.
I'll let you have it. But the other two I have are Jason Elam once again, and then Tennessee Titans legend Steven Gostkowski. Now, we're not going to talk about the fact that he didn't kick for us until like after his heyday, but we're not going to talk about that part. But yeah, Tennessee Titans legend, baby. Um, and then another guy I wanted to throw out there, he doesn't get a lot of respect all the time, but Rob Baronis, I mean, tragic how his life ended really, but I mean, he was on a insane trajectory and he was insanely consistent for those Tennessee Titans teams. So huge shouts out to Rob Baronis, as a Tennessee Titans fan who, I mean, I didn't get to watch much of him live, but you go back and watch the tapes of what he used to do with that football on his foot. I mean, unbelievable. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead and talk about Mr. AV.
I mean, this is obvious. I mean, nobody really can. Nobody really is gonna think anything else. Adam Vinatieri. I mean, like growing up, like I'm a little older than you, so growing up in the 2000s and watching every Patriot game, and in the back of your fucking mind, you see Brady just going down the field, and you're just like, oh, he's gonna fucking do it again. Here we go again. And the thing about the 2 minute drill that people don't talk about with Brady is that it was never going to be for a touchdown. Now, sometimes it would. We just knew Brady was going to set up for Vinatieri. Like, that's everybody's go to. That's why people were scared of Brady. But if they were like, we have to be afraid that he's going to win it with a game winning touchdown, people will be more afraid, but they know how that's a lot harder. But a field goal is not easier, but it's more attainable or more probable to make. So they really weren't scared of Brady. They were scared of Vinatieri. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, yeah, they were scared of Brady quarterbacking, but they're really scared of Vinatieri. Because, like I said, if they didn't have Vinatieri and they were just like, yeah, hey, just score a game-winning touchdown, okay, we can stop that, kind of. But if it's just like, because block field goals are harder to get than stopping a game with a touchdown. So yeah, they were scared of Brady, but they were scared of Vinatieri though, and he just would drill them, bro. He would drill them from like 68 yards, like almost 70 yards. So if it was like a 34-yard field goal, it was good night. Like you lost, like, and he didn't fucking miss. He really didn't miss often. I don't think I've ever seen him miss, and I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't think I've ever seen him. I think he's missed like one kick, but it was like in a meaningless game. He made a kick in
Yeah.
2001 against the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl, and that's when that started the dynasty. He made it against the Jake Delhomme Super Bowl. He made it against the Eagles Super Bowl. I mean, this guy is just a fucking just like sniper, bro. He's just always like I said, being a kid in the 2000s is just like watching it in real time. Like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like Brady's playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and he's got a buck 30 left, and he's on the 30, and they spike the ball and they clock it, and here comes number 4, and you're just like, oh my god, like they're gonna fucking win. Like they're gonna fucking win.
Nah, I 1,000% agree. I mean, we can talk about the weapons every quarterback has at their disposal. Brady had Gronk, Edelman, Amendola, blah 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 blah. The list goes on and on. But there's not, there's almost not a thing that makes a quarterback's life easier in crunch time than knowing if they get it on this yard line, the game's over because their kicker's just not gonna miss, and that's who Vinatieri was. Like that was scary to deal with. Like you knew if they got to the 30, 40 yard line, game over. Just might as well start packing your bags, take off your shoulder pads, game's over. Um, and it's one of those few players and few experiences that are shared between two very great quarterbacks in Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning had him in when he was in Indy. So that special teams room in Indy must have been crazy. Because we'll get into the other guy that's also on one of these decades lists in a few moments. That is also on that Indy team that I'm referencing. But holy guacamole. Uh, that indie team's special teams, holy crap, bro. Um, but yeah, there's not a lot of defense you can say for, oh yeah, they're going to get the ball to the 30 and they're going to make the kick and we have no say in it. That's just like one of those times where you just throw your hands up in the air and say,
No,
all right, I couldn't have done anything different.
no, facts, facts.
Um, and then 2010s, I mean, talk about longevity. This man Adam Vinatieri was also in the 20 he was not 90s, 20 2000s, the 2010s, like this man was just there if he was playing in whatever decade he could find. I'm surprised he didn't just try to like say, my leg's still kicking. We'll keep going into the 2020s, 2040s. Um, but jokes aside, Adam Vinatieri, Stephen Gostkowski in for those 2010s. And then, like, if you're not going to say Adam Vinatieri, prior to recent events, one of, if not the greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker. I mean, again, prior to like the past few years, which is going to be 2010s anyway. I mean, 2020s anyway, so that doesn't really count to your 2010s legacy. I keep misspeaking. You know what I mean. But this man just didn't miss. You could give him a kick from the 50-yard line. He'd kick it, go about his business. You say, "Oh, this is a normal Tuesday for me. Ah, I'll just make this 67-yard or 66-yard or however the hell long it was.
Bro,
I'll just make
fucking
that,
drilling them,
and
bro. Like
we're gonna pack it up and go home."
just drilling them.
I, like again, I get the current events, but I don't know if we'll ever see a kicker with the consistent power plus accuracy of Justin Tucker. Like Vinatieri was probably the most consistent that you can have over an entire career. But when you're talking power combined with accuracy, I don't know if you can beat a career that especially Justin Tucker had during the 2010s. I mean, unreal. There's not a lot of other adjectives you can put behind it. Absolutely unreal.
Nah, facts. I mean, Justin Tucker, he hit that 69-yarder against Detroit. I watched that shit live. I was like, damn, bro, that motherfucker got some steroids in his body because that nigga is crazy.
Dude's ridiculous, man. Um, And then like we can just go ahead and because I don't think that there's like a 2020s kickers that has set themselves above the rest right now. I mean, I guess you could say like Harrison Butker,
Harrison
but
Bucker.
which is another quarterback who has yeah, another quarterback with another reliable kicker. Almost like there's a trend here. Uh, but jokes aside, you have him. You got Tyler Bass, who's been pretty good this decade so far. Um, Young Ho Koo, I think. Um, some other kickers. Nick Folk. How did I forget Nick Folk? I mean, the dude doesn't miss. I mean, he
Oh
doesn't have all the
yeah.
power
Oh
in the
yeah,
world,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
get that man the 30, 40 yard line, doesn't miss.
He don't got the power, but he got the accuracy for sure.
D- yeah, like unreal. Um, I'd love to name Titans kicker Joey Sly, but I'm not going to do that because he's missed too many kicks this year. So I'm just going to not do that. Evan McPherson before he fell off. Um, I feel like I'm forgetting some big names. Who you got for me for this decade?
Oh shit. Who was the guy for the oh my god. He was for the
Cody
Bills
Parkey.
and he missed that kick against the Chiefs. 2023. He was good all fucking year. He missed it though. He missed it at the last game, not the last game, but the very. I was like, you gotta be kicking. What's his name? It's not Plunker. What's his name? Played for the Bills 2023 ish, or maybe he's still the kicker now. I don't know if they cut him or not, but the Chiefs came to Buffalo in the playoff game and he fucking missed it wide left. I was like, you gotta be. I was like, no. He was money all year. He was money all year, like all year. And I'm like, soon as Big Bad Mahomes came in, bro, I was like, fuck, man. Like,
I mean, come to think of it, Brady, when he was with the Bucks, also had another really good kicker. I can't remember his name either, but I think it was one of those kickers that was like
yeah,
washed for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he gets on Team Brady, and now he's having the career of his life, or the season of his life.
bro,
Like,
bro, it's like,
I guess
cuz
surrounding
you gotta
yourself with
think,
great
bro.
players is
Like,
great things for you.
you gotta think, bro. You gotta think, bro. Like, when you around like Brady and shit and
Former Titans
Mahomes and Josh
kicker, that's
Allen,
who it was.
like, like that shit make you want to play hard, bro. Like, I don't know why. Like, that shit just be like, bro, I'm gonna give my all, cause like they're such a rare commodity. And it's like when you play for like the Browns and you know you ain't gonna do shit, you ain't really trying to. You trying to get your paycheck, but you're not really trying to like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to like, you just trying to when you play with Brady, nigga, you better be like, shit, nigga, this probably my opportunity to get me a ring, nigga. I'm about trying to get a bowl out this nigga, like. Or you playing with like Mahomes, like love him or hate him, shit. I know if they call me, I play with Mahomes, I be like, fuck yeah, that nigga cold, bro. Like It's just certain niggas like you just play hard for. I don't know why. It's always been like that.
Yeah, because I remember, because like he was with the Titans before the Buccaneers picked him up, and it was like, yeah, he had a good few years with us, but like, yeah, he's not been that great lately. He gets the Buccaneers and just has, his best career season. No, nothing crazy, right? Yeah. Come on, Ryan. Is what it is, though, I guess. Oh, another guy that's been pretty consistent, current Bills kicker, Nat Prater. Um, but yeah, those are pretty much all the guys right now I think I can think of. Um, just to throw a funny name out there, Rodrigo Blankenship, that one season for the Colts. Um, Funny enough, it was just the one total season. Um, but yeah, uh, I mean, I think that's all we got as far as kickers go. Now, I did want to ask you real quick before we move into our next topic, discussing some NBA stuff. But as a receiver, knowing all you have to do as a receiver is get your team to a certain yard line, how much and what, like, does it come up in the back of your head that if we get to this yard line, we can just trust our kicker to do what he's got to do? Does that relieve stress for you as a wide receiver? And if so, how much?
Bro, absolutely. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If you don't think like that, I don't feel like you have good football IQ, and I think you still think high school level. Yes, as football players, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, you want to score every time you touch the ball. But a lot of times, even coaches will tell you just get the first down or just literally go out of bounds or whatever. Yes, if you can score, go score, but don't try to force it to the point where you're trying to break 1,000 tackles. Just get out of bounds or whatever like that, or get the first down, or you might have to just slide or something like that. Because if you try to fight for extra yardage, trying to score, you might fumble the ball, and you already know how that goes. So yes, you want to score every time you get the ball, but sometimes you have to learn how to just play situational football. I always, when I check with the ref, I do give my thumbs up. I check with the ref. I check the DB what his stance is, and I check where the yard marker is. They had the big orange arrows on the side for a reason. Just look for the orange. And I'm like, okay. And I look at the orange, and I look down at the ground. If the orange arrow is pointed at the 30, I say, okay, I need to get to at least the 30-yard line or we're close. So I always look for that. Always.
For sure. I don't know if your audio just went out on my end or what, but um, I did want to kind of like reiterate part of the question that I was asking, in that, like, as a wide receiver, you have a kicker in the back of your pocket. Are you communicating with your kicker, asking them, hey, where do I need to get to make you feel comfortable? Or is it just like that, not necessarily conscious, pressure reliever of like, okay, I know that if I do my job, he's going to do his.
Well, I always my mindset is always when I catch the ball, or I get the ball, score first. That's always my first mindset. I ain't worried about no fucking kicker. Like no offense, but I'm just like
Hmm.
scoring first. But if I know we're like 70 yards away, I could still hit my head on the goalpost to score. But I'm like, okay, you know what?
Right,
Situational football. Sometimes the coach would be like, "Hey, catch the ball, get out of bounds." Like catch a hitch, get out of bounds, or get the first down, or go to here, go here. So that's mainly the quarterback talks to the kicker about where he wants the ball. Some kickers want on the
right,
left hash, someone on the right, someone on the middle. But as a receiver, yeah,
right.
my first instinct is to score. Now it depends on if it's like fourth down or not. If it's fourth down, you gotta kick it right then and there. But if it's like second, third down, you like don't try to shit. Don't try to fight for extra yards and make yourself look like an ass and you fumble the ball. You know what I'm saying? So kind of have to know when to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go score right
Right,
now and just go for it or just go get out of bounds. But most of the time, it's just to go score.
for sure. I almost went completely over the second half of this segment. Um, so we'll go through it as quick as possible, give the guys that deserve their shout outs. Um, but, kind of a position that the Titans have been fairly consistent at. Let's discuss some punters. So for the 1960s, I have Don Chandler. Um, while not as famous as some later punters, Don Chandler was selected to the NFL's 1960s All-Decade team. He was both a punter and a kicker for the Giants and Green Bay Packers. He earned a Pro Bowl selection and won four NFL championships, two Super Bowls. His career average was a 43.5 yard per punt, and this was very, very respected for, the punters of his era. So, lots of respect out to Don Chandler. Now, I'll give you the opportunity if you'd like, Tyler, to contribute as far as any punters that you have, but I imagine you're probably starting closer to the 1970s with the big guy.
Yeah, well, most punters I know, but I don't. Most punters and kickers they're kind of not the same thing. But like I know more kickers than I do punters. I'm be honest. So I might not start until like the 80s or
Right.
90s.
Hmm. Okay. All right, just let me know if I go kind of past something you want to discuss. But the guys I have for the 1970s, I have Ray Guy. This is the guy I was referring to as the big guy because his name is the name of the punting award. He is arguably the greatest punter to ever live. He was the first punter ever enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His run was prominently with Oakland Raiders, of course. He was also made a member of the 1970s All-Decade Team, seven-time Pro Bowler, three-time Super Bowl champion. Uh, he revolutionized the punter position with his like extreme hang time and accuracy, uh, and kind of coined that, famous term for your punter, the coffin corner. He kind of started all of that. So huge respect to Ray Guy, there's not a lot of guys that you really can comment on in the 60s and 70s of certain sports, but Ray Guy, specifically at his position, very, very revolutionary, in my opinion.
No, I definitely heard of Red Guy,
Unless you
and
have
I know
anything.
the award. That's
Okay,
the one guy I do know. I definitely know Red Guy.
sure. Um, And then 1980s, I did kind of type out a, sentence or two on all of these guys. So if it seems pretty canned, that is because of preparation. But for the 1980s, I have Sean Landeta. He was a premier punter for the New York Giants. He was recognized for his excellence by that 1980s and 90s All-Decade team when the NFL did those. Uh, he was a two-time Pro Bowler, a two-time Super Bowl champion. He was known for his long, consistent punts throughout his lengthy career. Anyone for the 1980s you'd like to contribute, Tyler?
You can go ahead on to the 90s.
All right. Well, for the 1990s, I did have Sean Landeta again. I'll save you the spiel about him for the second time. But another guy I did have for this era, because I'm not just gonna sit here and say, "Oh, same guy, 2 decades. Let's move on." I had Jeff Feagles. Now, Mr. Feagles was another elite punter during the 1990s. Kind of started his career in the late 80s. He was known for his exceptional directional punting, and holds the NFL record for most punts inside the 20-yard line. You got any punisher in the 90s?
Oh shit, my bad. I was choking. I was drinking some water. There's the guy for the Buffalo Bills. He was the kicker, but he also used to punt as well. But he missed like four. He missed that field goal in that first Super Bowl in 1991, and he's infamous for that. In a unfortunately, but he was a damn good punter. He was a kicker too. He would do both, but he just missed that kick, and everybody got on him about it. But
Right.
this guy for the Bills, fucking gosh, hold on, let me see. I know his name. It might have been something like, why punters always like got like Giskowski or something with their name? It's like always something like Australian or some shit. But yeah, that name. Go ahead with your next 2000s.
Uh, okay. Like I said, I don't have very many guys for any of these, but 2000s I have Sean Leckler. He emerged as a superstar punter at the turn of the century. He's considered one of the best in the NFL history. Of course, he was named to both the 2000s and 2010s All-Decade Team. Throughout his career, he did lead the league in gross average 5 different times, and then he also led in net average 4 different times, setting a very high standard for the punter position. So Sean Leckler was definitely the guy for the 2000s that I was able to find. 2010s, I do have two names that are a lot more recognizable, I'd say.
Go ahead. Go ahead with yours.
All right. So for the 2010s, I got Johnny Hecker, current Tennessee Titan, longtime Panther. Um, And then I also have Pat McAfee. These guys were both two very exceptional talents that stood out in the 2010s. Johnny Hecker, mainly before he got to the Panthers, was with the St. Louis slash Los Angeles Rams. Um, he was a first team All Pro 4 times. He was named to the NFL's 2010s All Decade team. He was known for his pinpoint accuracy and ability to serve as a passer on fake punts, which was one of the reasons that our existing, and I say our, I mean the Titans, uh, special teams coordinator John Fasell really wanted him because of his ability to run fakes. Although we haven't really had the luxury of trying to do one of those this year just because the offense has been so bad, so we can't really risk it. But Johnny Hecker, he's basically like an extra quarterback as a punter, so huge respect to him. And then the other guy, obviously Pat McAfee, has his own show now, but he was the other half of that tandem in Indy that was very scary as far as the special teams perspective is considered. He was named the highest graded punter of the decade by Pro Football Focus for his power, accuracy, and charismatic personality. Although I don't think charismatic personality factors into PFF grade. I know. But yeah, Pat McAfee, interesting guy, but definitely legendary at that punter position. If only he would have played a little bit longer because he did kind of cut his career short, but very, very good, unfortunately for myself, as part of the Indianapolis Colts.
No facts. I forgot about Pat McAfee. I'm so used to seeing him on TV, but yeah, for sure, definitely Pat McAfee.
And then for the 2020s, unfortunately, I had to go with another division rival. Why do the Titans always have to have division rivals that do things well? And you know what? I skimmed over it in my mind. Another
That's your
guy, just
squad,
really quick
bro.
before I mention the 2020s guy, I wanted to give credit to, and then also I guess he's more, I guess he's 2010s, 2020s, or 2010s, 2000s both. But Brett Kern, longtime punter for the Titans, want to give him a huge shout out. Very, very consistent. Was a very consistent Pro Bowler when he was with the Titans. But 2020s, the division rival I'm referring to is currently AJ Cole, which kind of started out with the Raiders, but I'm pretty sure as long as my recollection isn't ass, I'm pretty sure he's with the Jags right now. But AJ Cole, top punter of the current decade, is being decided, obviously. But AJ Cole is definitely a contender for that for his time with the Raiders, where he established himself as a dominant force. He was named first team Pro Bowl, first team All Pro honors 2021, 2023. But some other guys that you might think about, Michael Dixon and Logan Cook. And a guy that I like to point to as a guy that kind of got effed over at the punter position, despite him being very, very good as a punter, Ryan Stonehouse. If you're not that aware of him, he's kind of the guy that the Titans got rid of this past offseason, despite being one of, if not the best punters in the entire NFL. Um, they wanted to go get Johnny Heckers, which was a guy I previously mentioned on the list, and so they got rid of him. And then he kind of had to fight out for a job in Miami, which he didn't end up getting, unfortunately. But I think that he is still a immensely good punter, and he definitely deserves a job. Um, so there, I can guarantee you, there's a team out there that needs a punter. Go poach him off the practice squad right now. He will do immaculate things for you. His issue was his aim time, but he was punting that ball so deep that, like, if you have good gunners, it really shouldn't matter. Um, but yeah, anyone you want to name for the 2020s?
I really don't know a lot of punters in this decade, honestly. It's just kind of like it's so quarterback driven that we score so many points that a lot of people don't even punt anymore. They just go for it on fourth down, i.e., Dan Campbell and all them. So not really.
Yeah,
Jake, I think his name Jake Moody for the Lions, but I think he's a kicker though.
Jake Moody was a kicker for the 49ers. You're thinking of Jake Bates, and he's a kicker for the Lions.
What? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
But no, I know what you're talking
Sorry,
about.
guys.
Another guy that I guess I could bring up, Corey Bojorquez, pretty good too. But Corey Bojorquez, I spent some time with the Browns, other places as well. But Corey Bojorquez, another good punter. Um, so that segment aside, we're going to go ahead and get into some results of the past week of the NFL season. And I know there's been a gap between some of our episodes, so for consistency's sake, and so y'all know kind of where we are time-wise, we are going to review Week 6 results. This is being recorded right after the Sunday night, or not Sunday night, Thursday night football game between the Bengals and what's the other team? Steelers. So once we get to that part, we're not going to be predicting that game. We can just analyze it. Um, anyway, first game that we have to discuss here, Eagles Giants. Jackson Dart, franchise quarterback. I'll say it one time, I'll say it 1,000 times. I still believe that the Titans should have traded down and drafted Jackson Dart and used the additional assets to build the team around our rookie quarterback. And now the Giants are reaping the benefits of drafting him. No disrespect to Cam Ward, but we have so many more needs that would have been a lot easier to fulfill had we traded down and gotten a guy like Jackson Dart who is really, really good at football. Any thoughts on this
Yeah,
game?
I think it was a good game. Yeah, it was a good game overall. Kind of slow to start, but it definitely picked up though, for sure.
This game ended 34 to 17. I don't know what you're talking about. How was this a good game? Respectfully, come on now. Um,
It was a good game until about like half, and then the Giants it was a pretty even score, and then like the Giants kind of just pulled away from 'em at the end because a lot of the Eagles, like Saquon, didn't play mainly
I
second half, and they put a lot of backups in. They kind of just gave up on the game. So
Um, Nonetheless, next game, the Jets desperately tried to get a win, and unfortunately for them, the Broncos put together one drive too many, and a final score resulting in 13 to 11. I don't know if this score has ever happened in the history of the NFL. What a unique score. But the Broncos beat the Jets by the hair of their chinny chin chin. I don't really know what the Jets can do at this point. The Broncos are worse than we anyone really expected them to be, so I don't really know what to say about this game.
I think the Jets just
Any
got to
thoughts?
just blow it up. They just got to blow it up and just they're 0-6. They haven't even won a game this year. I don't know how they blow it up. Thank you. I don't know how they blow it up, but they're just so awful. They're just so awful. Like I don't even know like to not even have one win so far. It's
Uh,
like you got to at least have one or two wins. I mean, even we won tonight. Like, golly.
Even my Titans have a Mickey Mouse win. If for some crazy chance no
Yeah, I
one's seen
know.
that Titans win, go back and watch it. That was the most chaotic win I've seen in my life. Um, Next game, Rams, Ravens. I mean, the Ravens just like I don't know what's going on with them. Like their defense is so bad, and it was supposed to be so good. Final score ended up being 17 to 3, so the Rams didn't really even have to play that good to win this game. But granted, I will say Lamar Jackson's not currently playing quarterback for the Ravens, so there is that. But I don't know. This Ravens team has just been immensely disappointing.
I think the Ravens just gave up on the season. It's over. They're 1-5.
Yeah. And then one of the crazier stories of the week, think back-to-back weeks, Rico Dowdle having insane games, in a 30 to 27 win over the Dallas Cowboys for the Panthers. The Panthers are starting to put something together here, it seems like. Um, Doesn't really look like it's though. It's not because of their young quarterback though. It's because their running back Rico Dowdle has just turned into Derrick Henry all of a sudden, and not modern day Derrick Henry, prime Derrick Henry. Like I don't know where he's coming from, but respect you, Rico Dowdle. I mean, holy moly, bro, dude is having an insane back 2 weeks.
No, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
just, I don't think I caught that game. I don't think I caught that game. But no, I definitely agree though, for sure. Like, I don't know. I think it's a renaissance of the running back starting to come back to football because they've been neglecting them for a while. I guess Saquon woke up the beast of running backs because I guess running backs trying to make a comeback. So we'll see what's going on.
I mean, but what did he sacrifice? His career? Because I mean, man has not been doing anything this year, honestly.
Everybody's
Um,
playing. Everybody just make
Nonetheless,
somebody else
though,
beat them
next game on the
and
docket,
just
Colts, Arizona. Danny Dimes continues to be MVP. Wait, you're saying so?
yep. Nah, the Colts they just keep rolling, man. They just keep beating teams and shit. But I don't know if I can see them as an AFC champion. I don't know. Like it's just a weird like I know they're doing good and I can know it and I see it and they pass the eye test, but something just doesn't feel right. Like I don't know. Like I just don't feel like I don't see as an AFC champion type
Yeah.
scenario. I don't know, but I could be wrong though.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on here because, like, no, like, I'd love for Daniel Jones to win MVP. Not saying he will or, what kind of chance he has at it, but, like, if they keep playing like this, he's definitely going to be in the contention. Um, But like as a Duke fan, I would love for him to win that. As a Titans fan, I would hate it. But like I don't know how to feel about this team because it really doesn't look like they're that good on paper or when you watch their games. It's just like I don't know. And it may just be the way that they're making things look, just is making it look way too easy more than it is. But like it just seems like I don't know, the other teams just aren't playing well against them for whatever reason. Which like I said, could just be something that they're just causing every team this amount of issues, but I don't know. I don't really know how to analyze this Colts team, honestly. Um, but the next game on the docket is the 20 to 12 win for the Seattle Seahawks over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I told y'all Trevor Lawrence is a fraud, but hey, Sam Darnold is in here doing his thing this year. They said that man was a Vikings merchant, system quarterback. Hey, he's having a pretty good year so far. I mean, respect to you, Sam Darnold. Respect. Got anything on this game? It appears you are muted. Let's proceed with the next game. Next game we have is the 29-27, very much closer than it should have been. Chargers went over the Dolphins. I didn't watch this game, but Chargers, what are we doing? Please don't play with your food. There are starving kids in Africa that could use the food. Um, that might have been a bad taste joke, but nonetheless, like, why are you in that close of a game with the Dolphins? Eh, there's my phone up,
Yeah,
bro. It's right
I
here in
mean, I
front of me,
really didn't watch
dude.
that game either, but
Um, you have anything on this game?
no, I really didn't watch that game too much. But it was just one of those things, and I've seen where Tua kind of called out his teammates and stuff, but that can be problematic. But yeah, I mean, the Chargers will
I'm
figure it
gonna
out.
take
They
that
just
as a
got to
no.
get back into a rhythm.
Um, Next game I have Browns versus Steelers. Steelers win 23-9. I don't really want to talk about this game, so interrupt me if you do, but I don't really care about that game. Next game we got is Patriots Saints. Patriots handle business, probably a little bit closer than it should have been, but they did what they got to do. Oh, you're back. Do you have anything to comment on any of the games that I kind of went on without you about?
No, you good. Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, great win by the Patriots.
All
They
right.
beat a bad Saints team, which they should do. So
Um, like I almost don't even want to talk about the next game. Like I almost just want to be like, yeah, I'm a Titans fan, but let's just move past it. The Raiders beat the Titans 20 to 10. I hate to be the negative Titans fan in the room. But what I'm seeing right now, product on field, and again, I hate to say it, but it all to me it looks like Cam Ward is a bust. Like I don't know if it's just the offense, we're not catering it to him, but he looked absolutely horrible this game. And I don't know what redeeming factor you can find from this game for Cam Ward because he had chances to go put the ball down the field, play against a bad Raiders team. Like, yes, they are a better team on every bit of paper than the Tennessee Titans. but you had your chances, and you just didn't do anything with them. Um, and I don't know. Max Crosby's a demon. I'm not gonna sit here and sit here and hate on the Raiders and what the Titans should have done. Yeah, all respect to Max Crosby. That man destroys anything in his way. But I don't know what's going on with Cam Ward. Like at this point, put Xavier Restrepo on the field. What do we have to lose? I'm honestly sick and tired of it at this point. I just can't do it anymore. I'm sitting here trying to plan a date on when this game is supposed to happen, so I don't have to watch the next one. This Titans team is causing me not to want to watch NFL football anymore, and that's a bad place to be. I wasn't even at that place last year. Like I can't do this right now. I do think the decision to fire Callahan was good. I'm not so sure about the new interim head coach, but we ball. Um, but this week's game is going to be against the Patriots, so Vrabel revenge game incoming. Yeah, that's as much as I want to comment on that game, honestly. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to get there, bro. Uh, so next game on the slate, uh, tell me whether you care or not. We got Buccaneers, 49ers. I didn't watch this game. I know the Buccaneers won with a limited wide receiving core.
I think Baker Mayfield's going to win MVP. He's just playing at a high level.
I don't know why this man Baker loves to play with his food because he always likes to secure it in the last few moments of the game. It's honestly crazy to me. Um, but next game, Bengals, Packers. I didn't watch this game. I'm sure that you watched some or part of it, so I'll let you comment on that Bengals Packers game if you'd like.
They kind of just threw the game away because they knew they had to play on Thursday night, so they didn't. They just kind of like gave in and just saved their energy for tonight, and they did, and then that's why they won because it was a divisional game. So
I saw Flacco starting to put together some drives at the end, but it was like it seemed a little bit too late, too little, too late type of thing. Um, and then Chiefs, Lions. Chiefs took care of business. I don't know. I feel like the Lions are one of these teams where it's like they can look very, very good on a week, and then they can also look like on a week. Like not bad, but like mediocre. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Lions. Chiefs are finally starting to get their team back on track. As an NFL fan, I hate to see it, but it's like an indicator of what you expect things to be. I guess it's a good sign for that. Um, anything as far as that goes?
no, Chiefs dominated the Lions. I mean, it's kind of like I thought the Lions would put up a better game than that, but I mean, it's kind of expected. So it's whatever. I mean, the Lions are starting to fall apart too. So
Yeah. Last two games for this week, we have Falcons and Bills. This game specifically, I didn't get to watch any of because I was at work. I didn't really watch either of these games, honestly. But I saw a stat before this game. It was like Michael Penix is 1-4 when the other team scores 7 or more points. He disproved every bit of that. They beat the Bills 24 to 14, and as the last time I checked, 14 is equal to 7 or more points. So, I mean, credit to Michael Penix, the Falcons, for getting the job done. I saw Bijan, Drake London both had pretty good games. Um, I don't know what happened with the Bills if they were just having a bad offensive day, or the Falcons defense was just causing a lot of trouble. Again, I didn't watch the game, but based on the stats, that the Falcons offense was getting on track. Anything on your end?
really didn't watch that game, but I just know that the Bills played horrible. But I feel like the Bills are just trying to rush through things. Ever since they lost against the Patriots, they kind of like caught themselves between a rock and a hard place. But yeah, I mean they'll shake back. I mean it's it's still the Bills, so they'll still win the next 7, 8 games. So
Last game of the night, I don't really have any comments on other than like I would have expected the Commanders to win this. Bears beat the Commanders in a very close one, 25-24.
yeah, it was a great game. It was kind of back and forth. That fumble by Jaden Daniels really set up the Bears. Good field position. It was a rainy game too. It was rainy, windy, and then the Caleb Williams led him down the field. DeAndre Swift scored a touchdown, and then Caleb Williams led him down the field again, and then they kicked the field goal to walk it off. In the rain. It was windy too, so it was a good game. It's kind of like the game that was last year, but just the Bears won it this time.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, we'll go to the game that just happened today. Uh, Thoughts, feelings, anything you got as far as your Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase beating the Steelers.
Nah, it's just something we just got to get back on course. So just get this game. We got a bye week, and then just rest up and let's get back on the horse. It's not like do backflips over, but it's just we won a division game. We were willing to, you know, take the Green Bay loss and just rest up for Thursday night, which is tonight, and we got the win. So as long as we get the fucking division wins, because those division wins kind of they like count twice as
Right.
much as just a regular win. So I'm glad we won tonight and just go on to next week. So now we got a bye week, and then we'll rest up, and then we'll come back stronger. So.
Right. Yes, sir. Um, Now, let's see. We can go through these next few games quick as or as slow as you want. But Bears versus Saints, I got the Bears taking that one quite easily, unfortunately.
Bears.
Chiefs, Raiders, Chiefs, easy. Max probably has another two sack
Chiefs.
day, but Chiefs still win. Uh, Rico
Yeah, I'm gonna
Dowdle
take the
versus
Chiefs
the
on that.
Jets. I got Rico Dowdle.
I feel
Are
like
you
the
taking
Jets
the
is not
Rico
gonna win
Dowdles
at
or the
all this
Jets?
year. I feel like the
All
Jets aren't
right.
gonna win at all.
So we both got
So
the Rico Dowdle. Yeah. We both got the Rico Dowdles, aka the Panthers. Um, then we got the Giants versus the Broncos. I honestly think this is a momentum builder. Once again, they built some momentum last week. They're going to go in to a very inconsistent Denver team, beat them, and we're going to be talking about are the Giants back? So, and Dart doesn't even have Neighbors back
no,
yet. So, imagine once that happens.
I got Denver.
Okay, okay. Um, and then we got Green Bay versus the Cardinals. If Green Bay doesn't win this game, like, what are we doing?
Packers. Yeah, Packers. I just don't. I just don't see
The
the
Cardinals?
Cardinals really
Okay,
winning
okay.
that game.
Yeah. Falcons, 49ers. I got 49ers. Mac Jones.
Falcons.
And then we got Texans, Seahawks. I got Seahawks.
Seattle, but I'm not so confident about it.
Next game, Jags versus Rams. I think that you have no choice but to pick the Rams here. I mean, not the Rams, the Jags here, because this game's being played in the actual home city of the Jacksonville
Rams.
Jaguars, which is London. Um, So, oh, okay. I'm regretfully
I'm gonna
taking
say
the
the Rams.
Jaguars just because I know where the game is being played. Um, then we got Dolphins versus Browns.
Mm, Cleveland.
Cleveland, this is for you. Yeah, I'll take Cleveland as well. The Dolphins just aren't good. They're much like the Titans, um, except they actually have good players. We have a good player. His name is Jeffrey Simmons, and he would be getting Defensive Player of the Year votes if this team was any good. But nonetheless, we got Eagles versus Vikings.
Give me the Vikings and Jay Jettis.
Eagles get back on track. AJ Brown, big day. Um, Patriots versus Titans. Mike Vrabel is going to come in and he is going to buy out without paying a single dime the city of Nashville, and he is going to own the city of Nashville once again.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Patriots. Titans have no shot, bro. No offense. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Fired your coach, and it's just not enough right now.
Notice, guys, this is the first episode I've started picking against the Titans. That's how depressed this team has made me. Um, Colts versus Chargers. I don't know, man. Give me Daniel Jones.
Chargers.
Commanders versus Cowboys. Give me commies.
Commanders. Yeah, I'll take the Commanders. Division game too, by the way.
Last game of the last game of the week before I want to just throw in some college football game, a college football game, and you can throw in another one if you want. But Buccaneers, Lions, Buccaneers. I'm sorry, Lions lose back-to-back weeks.
Baker's hot right now, so I'm gonna say the Bucks.
Cool. All right. That means teams on a bye for those who aren't doing the math. That's the Ravens and Bills. One college football game I wanted to talk about just real quick. I won't spend too much time on it, but it's a pretty major matchup for me, and that is the Duke Blue Devils versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I know that the Yellow Jackets are ranked number 12 in the nation, but and somehow Duke is favored in this game, despite not being ranked. Just side note. Um, I think that Duke has a very good shot of winning this game if Darian Mensah, if the offense, if everything keeps up the way it has been the past 3 weeks. I think this is not going to be a shootout. I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be the first time when in the past 3, 4 weeks when Duke is going to score under 40 points. Well, I guess under 35 points. I think that there's going to be a lot of defense involved in this game. Um, and I think that whatever team wins is not winning by an extreme margin. So I think this is going to be the game of the week as far as college football goes. I would like to have seen it get college game day, but I understand why it doesn't. Duke's not a real big enough brand for it to get college game day. So yeah, I just wanted to make any viewers aware of the game. Hopefully, I can get this out Saturday morning for viewers because it doesn't look like we're going to get this out tonight. But yep, that's the whole week of predictions I have on the agenda before we get out of here. Is the predictions for the upcoming season. I've made a stage prediction. If you would like, we can just and you can give me any hot takes while we do it. I'm going to go through the what my projections are for the 1 through 15 seeds. If you want to say any of what you got or whether you agree or disagree on certain things, you can do so. But for my one seeds, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East and the Thunder in the West. This is not me saying that the Cavs are the best team in the East. This is me saying that they're the best regular season team in the East. So just to clarify that, because I don't think they're going to make it very far in the playoffs, similar to last year. But I do have the Cavs and Thunder as my number one seeds. Any comments on that?
No, you good.
All right. And then I'll just kind of list off 2 through 4, and then I'll ask if you got any input on them. So for 2 seeds, I have the Knicks, I have the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves have proven that they're going to be a very good team year in, year out. This is a very tough Western Conference, so a lot of these teams we're going to name for the Western Conference really could end up anywhere 1 through 10. It's that crazy of a conference. Um, so Knicks and Timberwolves for 2. Number 3, I got Bucks and Nuggets. Uh, yeah, I mean, you can't really ever just bet against Nikola Jokic. Like we could have another legendary Nikola Jokic year, and somehow they get the 1 seed. Um, and then for 4 seeds, like I know the Celtics are mortgaging a lot of assets right now, but they're still a very good team, so I have them at the 4 seed in the East. And then this is going to be my, I guess, hot take of the entire list. I put the Spurs at number 4. I think what we've seen from Victor Wembanyama this preseason has been insane. They are one of 3 last time I checked undefeated preseason teams. Them, the Rockets, and the Magic are the 3 undefeated preseason teams. Um, so I think that the Spurs are going to be a very, very good team this year. They're going to make a leap. I think there's a lot of players on this team that are playing that are showing that they can be very good players. I was a huge Dylan Harper hater coming into the draft, but he's playing very well in the preseason, so I think he could have a very good role in the upcoming season. I'm trying to get through this as quick as possible. I just wanted to preface that. But I do acknowledge that most people are going to have us probably in the play-in or around the 6 seed. Um, and then for the 5 seed, or actually, let me let you comment on those top 4 seeds. You have anything you wanted to comment on the top 4 seeds?
No, you good. Go ahead.
Hmm?
You good. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say that's a no. Um, because I didn't hear anything. Oh, are you back?
No, I said you good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, then I'll go into my 5, 6, 7, and 8. So rounding out your typical playoff format, not considering that there's a play-in now. But at 5, I got the Orlando Magic, newly with Desmond Bain. I could see them being as high as the 3 seed. I mean, that's a very, very good team if everything clicks. Um, and then the Rockets at 5. I know people are gonna say, but Kevin Durant this, Kevin Durant that. I've said it on a previous podcast. I still believe it that they gave up too much for Kevin Durant as far as assets and culture goes. I think that they're going to struggle with finding their defensive identity early in the year. And I acknowledge how good of a scorer KD is, but he's not going to make up for a lot of your defensive woes that are going to be there without Dylan Brooks, because Dylan Brooks was kind of the culture. Um, and yes, I do know that they've had a good preseason, but I know I just glazed the Spurs preseason, but they're not always quite directly indicative. Um, at the 6 seeds, I have the Pistons and the Mavs. The Mavs, I think, are one of the teams that have the greatest variability of where they could be. I think that they have a chance of missing the playoffs. Like there is a chance that Kyrie just doesn't come back this year, and then Cooper Flag still has all these learning um, to do, and then you only really have Anthony Davis and the bigs. and then your role players. Like I think that's a possibility, but I also think there's a possibility that things click and click and click and click, and they could be up as far as the standings go. Seven seeds, we got the Pacers and the Lakers. I'm not buying Lakers hype. I refuse. I just don't think they're as good as people want to make them out to be. The Pacers, they're without Halliburton, but they still have all of the crucial other pieces that got them to that conference finals run, or not conference finals, but the NBA finals run where they almost won it. Um, so I think that's good there. Um, Looks like I'm finishing out the rest of this podcast because we lost connection to our other co-host. That is completely fine. Um, the 8 seed I have is the Miami Heat and the Clippers. So once again, in the East, my 1 through 8 is Cavs, Knicks, Bucks, Celtics, Magic, Pistons, Pacers. Then we have Thunder, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Spurs, Rockets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers, and then what? What's going on here? Oh Lord. Yeah, we're having some issues on his end, but I'll go ahead and finish out the pod. It'll be fine. Um, so yeah, Rockets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers. 9 seeds, we got the Hawks and the Warriors. 10 seed, I have the Sixers, Kings. The 11 seed, I have the Hornets and Trailblazers. 12 seed, Raptors and Suns. At the 13 seed, I have the Bulls and the Jazz. At the 14 seed, I have the Wizards and Grizzlies. 15 seed, I got the Nets and the Pelicans. So that's going to round out our standings prediction and some hot takes that I kind of have on the NBA season. I wish Tyler was here to give some input on his kind of things there, but I'm sure we can maybe get some comments in on it about the next pod. But it does look like we're going to end about a 2.5 hour pod here, so um, for time's sake, we're going to just go ahead and go through last few things. Again, if you want to follow myself on Twitter, or it's going to be at the Trent the OG, and then on Instagram it's going to be at Vibe and Trent. If you want to find a little Tyler on his social platforms, it is at Tyler Cargill. You can find his highlights on YouTube for under Tyler Cargill as well. For the pod socials, we have Gridwood Pod on Twitter and on Instagram as well as TikTok. We have gridiron.hardwoodpod. Uh, Outside of that, though, I would like to thank everyone for attending and watching this episode of the Gridiron and Hardwood podcast. I hope you have a great time celebrating anything that you might be celebrating. Have some fun time with family, friends. Have a good weekend. This is going to be released on the weekend, so enjoy your weekend with whatever time you have, spouse, family, friends, whatever it may be. But enjoy time with others this weekend, or if you're a loner, enjoy it with yourself. But I hope you all have a great rest of your week, great rest of your weekend. We'll be back with the next show hopefully on Friday. We're going to try to get back in the consistent route of things. Had some personal matters come up that did sideline the pod for a little bit. But again, thank you all for tuning in. This is Trent. That was Tyler when he was here, and we're out. Again, thank y'all for coming in.